The Grand Conclave of the Galactic Dominion had never known silence like this. 700 species, represented by their most decorated ambassadors, sat frozen in their crystalline seats aboard Station Meridian. The holographic display at the center of the chamber showed the same image that had paralyzed every diplomatic tongue in the room, a single vessel, emerging from a tear in subspace at the edge of the Orion Belt. Ambassador Vreth of the Kalori pressed his four-fingered hands together. His species had ruled these stars for 11,000 years. He had witnessed the destruction of suns. He had watched entire civilizations collapse into dust. Nothing had prepared him for this. "What is that thing?" he whispered. Fleet Admiral Zos of the Dominion Navy pulled up the sensor data. The numbers refused to make sense. The vessel was 11 kilometers long. Its hull was constructed from something their instruments couldn't classify. It radiated no traditional energy signature. Only a deep, grinding vibration that made the station walls tremble. "It's from Earth," said Zos, his voice barely a sound. The entire chamber erupted. Captain James Harlo stood at the bridge viewport with his arms crossed and a half-finished cup of coffee in his hand. He was 44 years old, from Bozeman, Montana. He had a scar above his left eyebrow from a bar fight in his 20s and gray threading through his dark beard. He did not look like the man commanding humanity's most powerful weapon. He looked exactly like what he was, a tired soldier who had seen too many wars. "Sir," said Lieutenant Commander Rachel Voss, pulling up a display, "we're reading approximately 700 vessels in formation around Station Meridian. Dominion military classes, mostly. Some civilian transports moving away at full burn." "They're running," said Harlo flatly. "Can't blame them," muttered Sergeant Mike Doyle from the weapons station. He cracked his knuckles and grinned. "We look terrifying." Harlo set down his coffee. "Open a channel." Ambassador Vreth watched the communication request blink on the main screen. His advisors begged him not to answer. His security chief drew a sidearm. Vreth answered anyway. The human face that appeared was unremarkable. Weathered. Calm. Almost bored. "This is Captain James Harlo of the Earth Space Navy vessel Defiance," the man said. "I'm here because 6 months ago, a Dominion harvester fleet crossed into the Kepler corridor and burned 3 human colony worlds. 42,000 civilians. I'd like to speak with whoever authorized that order." Silence strangled the chamber. Vreth leaned forward. "Captain, you are one ship. You are surrounded by the most powerful fleet in the known galaxy. You will power down your vessel and submit to Ambassador." Harlo's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. "I'm only one ship because the others are already in position." A junior officer behind Vreth screamed. The sensor board lit up like a dying star. They came out of nowhere. Not from subspace. Not from conventional FTL. They had been waiting, drifting silent and cold in the dark between stars, engines off, running no signals. 43 vessels of varying size, each one bearing the blue and white banner of Earth. They hadn't traveled together. They hadn't announced themselves. They had positioned themselves across 3 star systems over the course of 8 months, moving like ghosts, waiting for one word from James Harlo. The Dominion fleet began to scatter. "Sir," said Rachel quietly, "they're breaking formation." Harlo nodded slowly. "Let them go. All except the command vessel." The Defiance moved. Fleet Admiral Zos surrendered within 20 minutes. He was brought aboard the Defiance in shackles, trembling, expecting execution. Instead, Captain Harlo offered him a chair and poured him something warm. "I'm not here to conquer you," Harlo said, sitting across from him. "I'm here to deliver a message." He slid a single data chip across the table. "Earth doesn't want your territory. We don't want your resources. But 42,000 people are dead, Admiral. Their names are on that chip. Every single one. Harlo's eyes didn't blink. Make sure whoever gave that harvest order reads every name. Then make sure it never happens again. Zos stared at the chip with shaking hands. What if it does, he whispered. Harlo stood, picked up his coffee, and walked toward the viewport. Outside, the stars burned cold and indifferent across the endless black. Then we won't send a message next time.